There are claims that China is dealing with an outbreak of the human meta-neumo-virus, or the HMPV, 5 years after the COVID-19 pandemic, viewers. There are even claims that Beijing has declared a state of emergency. Now, HMPV is known to cause flu-like symptoms and can also present symptoms similar to those of COVID-19. Health officials are closely monitoring the situation as the virus spreads, reportedly. NDTV, however, could not independently verify these claims. The FBI has said the suspect in the New Orleans attack acted alone. Now, the deadly event has been described as an act of terrorism. 14 people were killed and dozens injured Wednesday when the man plowed into a crowd on Bourbon Street in a pickup truck. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden, citing the FBI, has said that the attacker planted explosives in ice coolers in the French Quarter just before the attack. As per reports, Shamsuddin Jabbar also expressed beliefs that music, intoxicants, fornication and other pleasures were evil deservings of destruction. In fact, an account on the SoundCloud platform under the name of Jabbar posted 3 recordings totaling about 20 minutes each, containing those and other expressions of extremist religious views. According to public records and interviews, Jabbar had also faced family and financial struggles in recent years. Listen into what the US president had to say, followed by the finer details.
They've established that the attacker was the same person who planted the explosives in those ice coolers in 2 nearby locations in the French Quarter just a few hours before he rammed into the crowd with his vehicle. They assess he had a remote detonator in his vehicle to set off those 2 ice chests.
Meanwhile, Las Vegas authorities have confirmed the identity of the person killed in the Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas as 37-year-old Matthew Allen Livelsberger, an active duty US Army soldier, viewers, from the Colorado Springs. The FBI stated it is still unclear if the incident was an act of terrorism indeed, though no definitive link has been found between this explosion and the earlier New Year's Day truck attack in New Orleans, which killed 15. Police say Livelsberger acted alone, taking his own life with a gunshot before gasoline canisters and fireworks in the truck detonated. DNA evidence was used to confirm his identity, as the body was burned beyond recognition. Several people sustained minor injuries in the blast. Western media reports are indicating an alleged assassination attempt on former Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad by poisoning. Assad reportedly fell ill on Sunday. He has been living in Moscow since fleeing Syria in December last year. Now, according to the online account General SVR, believed to be run by a former Russian intelligence official, the 59-year-old ousted dictator sought medical help after violently cuffing and choking. Tragic incident from Southern California. A small plane crashed into the roof of a commercial warehouse in Fullerton, killing 2 people and injuring 18 others. Now, the crash occurred at 2:09 p.m. local time, just miles from Disneyland and near the Fullerton Municipal Airport. First responders battled the blaze that erupted at the site, which housed Michael Nicholas Designs. It's a furniture upholstery manufacturer. Surrounding businesses were evacuated. The type of plane and the status of those injured, very importantly, whether they were in the aircraft or on the ground, is still under investigation. Now, Fullerton is a city of around 140,000 people and is located about 40 kilometers south of Los Angeles. Listen in.
At 2:09 this afternoon, the Fullerton Police Department and Fire Department received a radio call of a plane crash in the 2300 block of Raymer Avenue, where we're standing now. The plane crashed into a commercial building halfway down the block on the left side, south side of the street. It crashed into the roof. Upon the officers and fire department arrival, they found the building on fire coming from the roof.
South Korea is facing a deepening political crisis as investigators have temporarily suspended efforts to, in fact, arrest President Yoon Suk-yeol. Now, this comes after a tense standoff at the presidential residence in Seoul, where security teams blocked authorities attempting to detain the embattled leader. Now, the warrant, valid until the 6th of January, accuses Yoon of leading an insurrection following the controversial martial law declaration last month. Political tensions continue to simmer, with heavy police presence and large crowds of supporters near the president's residence. If executed, this would mark the first time a sitting South Korean president has been arrested. Meanwhile, South Korea's transport ministry has extended inspections of all Boeing 737-800 aircraft in the country following a tragic crash that claimed 179 lives. The initial inspections were set to conclude by Friday, but have now been extended to the 10th of January. The investigation focuses on various safety measures, including engine checks and maintenance records, especially given that the plane's engines were made by General Electric's CFM International joint venture. The crash, which occurred when a Jeju air flight belly landed and exploded at the Muan airport, has prompted an intense examination of safety protocols and airline practices in the country. The government warned that any airline found to be in violation of safety standards could face operational suspensions, underlining the importance of compliance with aviation regulations to ensure public safety. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is set to visit India as the Joe Biden administration wraps up its four-year term and prepares for the handover of power to Donald Trump 2.0 administration. Sullivan has been one of the most influential and key officials in the outgoing U.S. administration. He has played a critical role in managing conflicts across the world: the Russia-Ukraine war, Israel's war in Gaza, and even tensions with Iran and the growing assertiveness of Beijing. He is expected to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, besides holding talks with Indian counterpart NSA Ajit Doval. U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday awarded the second highest civilian medal to Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson, leaders of the congressional investigation into the Capitol riot. Donald Trump has said they should be jailed for their roles in the inquiry. Meanwhile, Biden awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal to 20 people in a ceremony in the East Room of the White House, including Americans who fought for marriage equality, a pioneer in treating wounded soldiers, and two of the president's longtime friends, former Senator Ted Kaufman and former Senator Chris Dodd.
The most important title in America is not president, but citizen. It's we the people. These are the words that are the rock upon which this entire nation has been built, not hyperbole. It's fitting that we gather here in the East Room next to the portrait of Teddy Roosevelt, a reformer, a soldier, a governor, a president. He promoted the cause of active citizenship.
The U.S. Commerce Department announced on Thursday it is considering new rules to restrict or ban Chinese-made drones, citing national security concerns. Officials in the U.S. are seeking public input by the 4th of March on measures to protect the drone supply chain, warning that threats from China and Russia could allow adversaries to access and manipulate drones, potentially exposing sensitive U.S. data. China currently dominates the U.S. commercial drone market, making these potential restrictions a significant development. Beijing has added 28 U.S. defense companies, including Lockheed Martin, to a list restricting Chinese sales to them, marking a new escalation in the ongoing trade war. While many of these firms were already under the Chinese scanner or sanctions, this move highlights Beijing's growing pushback against Washington. Analysts suggest that the tensions are expected to rise further in 2025, with U.S.-China relations becoming a key concern for multinational cooperation. One expert noted that such actions are likely to become more frequent, particularly as the U.S. signals a tougher stance under President-elect Donald Trump. Israeli airstrikes killed at least 40 people, including 7 children, across the Gaza Strip on Thursday, hitting Hamas security officials and an Israeli-declared humanitarian zone. The death toll included 14 people who were killed late on Thursday in strikes in Maghazi and in the Nusrat refugee camp in central Gaza. They were taken to the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital. The United Nations Security Council has finally welcomed 5 non-permanent members for the 2025-26 period. Representatives of the newly elected members, Denmark, Greece, Pakistan and Panama and Somalia, joined a flag installation ceremony on Thursday. The 5 newly elected countries will join Algeria, Guyana and the Republic of Korea, Sierra Leone and Slovenia as non-permanent members of the Council. The Fijian government has clarified that 3 Virgin Australia staff members who are being investigated for alleged theft and sexual assault during a layover are not being detained by local authorities. Contrary to reports suggesting that the crew members were being held, the government stated that they are staying in their hotel, which is the designated accommodation for Virgin Australia crew members during layovers. The crew has been advised to remain in the hotel area to assist with ongoing police investigation into separate incidents that occurred in Nadi on New Year's Day. The 3 staff members are expected to return to Australia by the end of the week. The German and French foreign ministers are heading to Damascus to see what the German minister said is a clear signal that a political new beginning between Europe and Syria is possible. Germany's Annalena Baerbock and France's Jean-Noël Barrot are expected to meet al-Julani and representatives of Syrian civil society on Friday. Now, this marks the first official visit to Syria by top diplomats from the European Union countries after the fall of former Syrian President Bashar Assad in a lightning offensive by opposition forces.